Do you like anime girls and dinosaurs? Well, if you do, I have the perfect anime for you. Dying in the Franxx. It's an anime that came out in 2018. It's got mechs in it, cute anime girls, oh, and also a bunch of politics and world building and stuff that gets thrown out the window about 18 episodes in because they do a fucking exposition dump that kills a lot of the intricate world building that happened throughout the story that had happened so far and all of the cool stuff. And oh, and they introduce a villain that, in the last like 3 episodes. It's actually the main overarching villain that's been there the whole time that we've not actually known about throughout the entire story up until this end point. And it's kind of a disaster piece as you get into the last kind of final arc. But up until then, it's pretty good, and I actually quite like it. However, after episode 18, it becomes an absolute shit show. And that's why I like to pretend that everything after episode 18 doesn't really exist. Well, and including episode 18. But what is Dying in the Franxx? Well, Dying in the Franxx is, as I said, it's a mecha. And much like most mecha, the mechs are just there because they look cool, and you don't really need to worry about them as a genre, I guess, because they're more of just a cool little plot point that's there because, ooh, action scenes are fun if you have bigger robots fighting giant monsters. Because yes, this is a giant robots versus giant monsters type thing, but the robots are piloted by people, as you'd expect. 2 people, to be specific, similar to Pacific Rim, but not quite, because, well, if you know anything about Dying in the Franxx, you'll know that they're piloted by a male and a female, and it has to be 1 male and 1 female, and, yeah, just look up how the mechs are piloted, and I'm sure it'll pique your interest enough to probably watch the series. If that doesn't, well, if you know who 02 is, that'll probably pique your interest to watch the series. And if that didn't, there's no hope for you. You're never going to watch Dying in the Franxx. And I don't blame you if you don't. While I enjoy it up until a certain point, it's not exactly the best written series out there. It's a Cloverworks series, and as I've mentioned in the past, Cloverworks have a track record of not being quite able to end series very well, at least not recently. Anyway, Dying in the Franxx is much more than just a simple mecha, as I kind of hinted at. It does move on into the things of like freedom, and freedom of thought, and choice, kind of. It does tackle some other themes. It's been a while since I watched it, and I don't really want to sit through rewatching it, so this is all kind of off the cuff at the top of my head to try and cram into 3 minutes about what I think about the series and what the series really is. But yeah, Dying in the Franxx, it's a bit of a disaster piece. I love it. Up until a point, it's actually really, really good, and it's actually worth watching. However, it does kind of go off the rails toward the latter half, and especially in the last like 6 or so episodes. When you hit episode 20, things kind of go weird, and that dinosaur chick, 02, that I mentioned, yeah, she becomes a fucking boat. Like, what the fuck, Dying in the Franxx? What happened? Yeah, it's not exactly cohesive. Much at all, really. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. I've been Animal City, you've been you. Look at you all next time for another video. Ta-ta.